Hi, my name is Ed Shanshala. I'm from Amanuset Community Health Services. I'm here today to welcome you to Food is Medicine ACHS Teaching Kitchen. Our goal is for you to be able to learn how to produce foods you feel good about in fewer than 30 minutes from prep to plate for you, your friends, and your family. We paid special attention for individuals who have diabetes and hypertension. I hope you enjoy the series, come back frequently to learn more, and have a great day cooking food you feel good about. Thank you. Hi, my name is Ed Shanshala. I'm with Amanuset Community Health Services. And this is part of our Food is Medicine Portable Teaching Kitchen series, and I'm joined today by Leah Spurbeck, who is an RN. In addition, that we have cooked together for over 40 years. And I look forward to you enjoying what she's going to be providing for you for wonderful recipes. Thank you, Leah.
Happy to be here. Welcome to another episode of Food is Medicine. And my name's Leah Spurbeck. I'm a registered nurse. And today we're going to do a chunky Mediterranean sauce. This is actually my own recipe. I was really inspired when we went to Italy for our 20th anniversary. And it really opened my eyes on different ways to make sauce, because they do such a wide variety of using fresh ingredients. So I came up with this recipe. And it's actually a very fast recipe. You can get the dinner on the table in 30 minutes. So that makes it really helpful. The ingredients that we're using today, we're going to be using some artichokes, some canned artichokes. You can use whole ones. You'll have to cut them up into quarters, or you can buy the quartered artichokes in a can. And we drain them. So we have some black olives here, also drained. I usually use Kalamata olives for this recipe. They're a very strong olive taste, so you have to be careful how many you use, because you can use too many. And Kalamata olives are saltier than like a black olive, so if you use them, rinse them, because if you have high blood pressure, you don't want to add too much salt to your dish. I do not cook with salt for any of my recipes usually, because I have high blood pressure. So I always use a lot more spices than salt. So, but I actually do prefer Kalamata olives with this particular recipe. It gives it more of a Mediterranean feel and taste to it. We're using a Vidalia onion today. You could also use a red onion or any yellow onion in your pantry. We're using some peppers. I'm using a green, red, and yellow today because I just wanted some color. But you could also just use like 3 green, 3 yellow, whatever you have in your refrigerator will do, okay? Then we're gonna use some chicken sausage. And right here we have hot and sweet. And we'll talk about different varieties to use a little bit later when I'm cutting things up. We have some garlic here. This is already cut up. It's like 4 or 5 cloves. I like a lot of garlic. I don't cut garlic up in my house. My husband does, so he cut this up today too. We have some Italian seasoning, red pepper flakes, San Marzano tomatoes. San Marzano tomatoes are a really good tomato because it's less acid. So if you have a lot of like gastric reflux, then a San Marzano tomato is a much better tomato to use. Okay, and actually your sauces taste a lot smoother. So I prefer that particular tomato. We're going to use a pinch of salt, we'll talk about that later, and olive oil. Okay, now you can use, in a pinch, you can use any olive oil you want. But if you only have like a salad olive oil, it's the lighter olive oil, it's not going to have much of a punch for your olive oil taste, because we're using this not only to saute our ingredients, but it's also going to flavor the sauce. So you're going to see me use quite a bit of it. And we'll talk about that. So here we're going to finish cutting up the rest of our ingredients so we can cook it all in the pot. All right, so here I am this is a chunky sauce, so we're not doing any fancy cutting here. We're just going to cut things up and throw it in. Artichokes are really good for fiber, and and it really tastes really well with like sausage. Onion, we're just gonna quickly cut that up. And we're just gonna throw it in our little prep bowls here. I like to get everything cut up so then I can just concentrate on cooking. If you put your olive oil in your pot, like I do, and then cut things up, keep an eye on it, because it'll catch fire. Yes, I've done it. Here we're gonna finish cutting up our peppers. So keep, like I said, keep a very close eye on the olive oil. All right, here, as you can see, I'm just going to, there's no secrets here. We're just gonna cut up the peppers here. And just stick it here. All right. Okay. All right, I do usually take the stem out here and just use the tops as well. I'm not really concerned how I cut it. I just kind of cut it at the segments here, and then we'll throw it in our pot. Chicken sausage. Okay, so here I'm using chicken sausage today because I wanted something a little lower fat, okay? And we're just gonna slice them. These are, and the chicken sausage that's pre-cooked won't take that long to cook either, so it helps get the dinner on the table a little faster as well. You can use Italian sausage. You can use Italian sausage links. A lot of times I use hot and sweet, and I am using hot and sweet chicken sausage today, because I like the flavor profile of that. You kind of get some hot, kind of some sweet, it just tastes good. You could also use regular sausage. You can use crumbled sausage. So if you only have ground sausage in your pantry, you can use that. Friends of mine, every time I go to their house in New York, I have to make the sauce. So he's a hunter. So we came up with a recipe for him to make venison sausage. So if you have hunters in the family and they have made venison sausage, this is a wonderful recipe for that. Tastes really, really good. I was really surprised because he makes hot and sweet. So that really worked out really well. We were very excited because we were trying to figure out different ways to make venison. So, all right, so here we have everything ready. So now we're gonna start our burner here. And now we're going to use our olive oil. Now, I am half Italian, so, we like our olive oil. We're very fussy about it. But as you can see, I'm putting quite a bit in here. And we're covering the whole pot, the whole bottom. How I judge, for me, how I judge if there's enough olive oil in any of my sauces is that if I don't see a little oil beating up on my sauce, then I don't have enough. Then I usually add more. Because I really want to taste the olives. Okay, so my wooden spoon. So this is a recipe. You could even cut up all the ingredients the day before. It'd be a lot faster to make it. If you don't have time to make it, you're prepping for the next day and you don't have time to make it, you can just cut the stuff up at night. Then you're all ready. Then you can just get the olive oil going and go. So it's not going to take that long for this to heat up here. Let's test it a little bit here. Let me throw something in there. That's just about ready. See, this is why I put it in earlier, but I didn't want to get distracted and have it get too hot while we're here. Let me raise that a little bit. There we go. Good. Now you can hear it starting to sizzle here. So we're going to add all of our ingredients here. I like to add the onions and the peppers first to get them cooking. Now I actually use a deep dish frying pan or a braising pan. I have both because it's nice and deep and I can cook it faster than a pot. Okay, so you can use a frying pan actually to make this recipe. So this was a little bit smaller than I normally use, so I want to make sure I have enough room for the tomatoes, so I'm not going to add all of the entire ingredients that we have here for that reason. And I'm going to add the artichokes. Since these are a little bit more fibrous, I want them to get start cooking. Now, I'm not measuring anything, so I do everything by sight or taste with this particular recipe. So while this is cooking, let me stir it up a little bit. As you can see, it's all nice and chunky. Add some olives. And then a lot of people say don't add your spices when you're doing this step in your cooking. They say it makes things bitter, but I disagree. So I actually will put my Italian seasonings right here. As you can see, I'm pretty liberal with the seasonings because I'm not using salt. I like to smell it. I enjoy cooking, so I like to smell my food. You can see it's quite colorful, actually. Let's see. I'm gonna let these cook a little bit more. I don't want to add the garlic right yet because I don't like my garlic to get burned. And that can happen. So this will take about 5-10 minutes to cook, and then we'll add our chicken sausage at that time. Okay, it's been cooking for about 5-10 minutes, so you don't want to, you don't have to cook it until it's all cooked, just halfway cooked. And then we're going to add, because peppers take longer to cook, our garlic. Stir that up. So, and then we're going to red pepper flakes. It's a very southern Italian spice. It adds a little heat to it, a little spicy. It's where you get your sauces from. You have to be careful with it because you can make it too hot. So I just start usually with a couple shakes, and because we have hot Italian sausage in here as well. So we don't want to add a little bit, so I just do a couple shakes. All right. Now, like I said before, I don't usually cook with salt. This is actually, when I'm making a tomato sauce, is the only time I use salt. And I only use a very little bit because if you don't, your tomatoes will taste very flat. So I learned that at a pretty young age here. How does this open? Oh, it's one of those fancy ones. Okay, so we're just going to do a couple of them. That's it. And I actually like kosher salt. I'll just do like a shake. Nothing complicated. Just because you need that for the tomatoes. All right, now we're going to add our tomatoes. Okay, I like to use whole tomatoes because it is, a chunky sauce. Like we talked about, San Marzano is my favorite here. I do have gastric reflux, so I can tell you these tomatoes do make a difference, so you can enjoy your sauce, your pasta. I break it up with my spoon. This usually will have enough of the tomato pulp to thicken the sauce. So you don't need to use tomato paste. If you don't like it and it feels too thin to you, then you certainly could add tomato paste to thicken it up. So we're going to break this, and periodically we're going to come in here as it cooks and we're going to keep breaking up the tomatoes. And we're going to let's stir it up a little bit so you can see it. You can see how nice and chunky that is. Now, to me, I don't have enough spices. because I'm going by sight like I told you, and I want to see more. So I'm just going to add more. I go through a lot of Italian seasons. And now we're going to add the chicken sausage. Let's see how much we can get in here. Since this is pre-cooked, it's just got to cook with the sauce. Now, if I was using crumbled Italian sausage or Italian sausage links, I would have put them in with the vegetables earlier. So it would cook with the vegetables, and all that sausage, fat really kind of also helps cook them. So if you didn't like using so much olive oil, you would just use a little less, but I can never have too much olive oil in my sauce, so. All right, you can see how nice and chunky that is. And it's not taking any time to really make. I think we can get some more in there. The protein's good. Protein's good because it really offsets your pasta, your carbs in your pasta. So I like to see if I can get as much protein in here as we can. Okay, so now we're going to turn this down a little bit so it can simmer. So this probably took me like 15 minutes, so it can simmer for another 15 minutes until you're ready to have dinner. So we're going to put this on here. I'm just going to crack it because I don't want it to overflow, and we're just going to periodically go in here and stir it up while it's simmering. We've had some water going already, so we're going to put our pasta. We are using, I like Barilla, and I'm using penne. You could use rigatoni. I like that shaped pasta because it is a chunky sauce and kind of gets into the big pasta holes, okay? So we're gonna add that to the pot. I do not salt my pasta water either, and it cooks just fine. So we're gonna let that cook. Now you could also, one of my favorite low carb options is putting this on spaghetti squash. You could bake it in the oven, cut it in half, bake it in the oven face down for like 40 minutes, like 425, and you could also actually put it in the Instapot whole, and which does work because I have actually tried that. I didn't believe it, but it does work. Cut it in half, scoop out your spaghetti squash. I like to get some of the excess water out of it. And my favorite way to cook it is getting a cookie sheet and put some Reynolds wrap on it, nonstick Reynolds wrap, parchment paper, and I'll then make little nests of the spaghetti squash on the cookie sheet, and then I'll add some cheese, like mozzarella. And then I'll add a scoop of the sauce on each one, and then I'll put it in the oven just so the cheese melts. And it's actually really very good. People like that when I make that at home. So this is another low carb option, and this is the only noodle replacement that I will use because I don't like any other pasta replacements. I want pasta, I'm gonna have pasta. But this works really well. I'll eat that. All right. So, let this finish cooking, and we'll come back and put it on a plate. While everything was cooking, we took the opportunity to clean up the kitchen so we can get ahead on the dishes. So our sauce has been cooking for a little bit. Let's take a look at it. Oh, that looks really good. As you can see some of the oil on the top. That means we have enough olive oil to my liking. So let's plate it. Our pasta is done as well, so we're going to drain that. Now, we're using a white pasta. Barilla does have high protein pasta and a wheat pasta. which is our good alternatives for your diabetics, because they can still enjoy some pasta and it will not cause their blood sugars to spike. It'll make it more even, like your white pastas will do that. So that's a good option as well. So everybody should be able to enjoy their pasta. So we're going to drain it. Now I will actually rinse this. Typically, you don't have any water running right at the moment, so I would rinse it until it's cold, because we're going to put a hot pasta sauce on it. So, and it also does get rid of a lot of the starchy carbohydrate, so it kind of reduces it a little bit more for you. Okay, so we're going to put it over here. All right, grab a spoon. All right, so we're going to put some pasta on our dish. Okay. All right, we're going to take some nice chunky sauce. Now, for me, I like my sauce a little thicker, so I probably would have put a couple more, I would probably put a couple tablespoons of tomato paste in the sauce, just because I just prefer a little thicker sauce. So it's, okay. Yeah, get some nice colorful peppers here. Look pretty. All right, and here you can use you can sprinkle some cheese on top if you want some Parmesan cheese. I also, will also take like a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese and put it in the sauce. Some people don't like cheese in their sauce, so depending on who I'm cooking for, I will omit it like I did today, but if I'm making it for us at home, I will put it in like a quarter cup of Parmesan cheese while it's cooking. It tastes really good. This is a really good recipe if you got people that came to visit you suddenly, because it serves a lot of people. Because I usually, like I said, make it in a really big pot, and all you can just get it on the table really quick for home. And it tastes even better the next day, because it's been sitting there with all the flavors melting.